So, my toilet has been making the loudest, most annoying sound you can imagine. I can hear it all across the house. And as you can see, not only is it making a noise, but it's also spitting water out the top. In this video, I'll fix both those issues by replacing the fill valve. This is the most common fix for noisy toilets. Fill valves cost anywhere between $9 and $15 depending on where you get them. I started off at Lowe's and they had a few different options, one with a valve and flapper for $20, a 400A for $9, a 400H for $15, and a corky option for $10. Amazon's 400A was $14 and was the most expensive. I ended up grabbing the 400A at Walmart while doing some other shopping, and I would suggest Lowe's if you're looking for a deal, but it's hard to beat the convenience of Amazon. Link in description. Now that we have our fill valve, let's get into the installation. Go ahead and take off the lid and be gentle with this and set it out of the way. The last thing we want to do is drop it or break it. That'll turn a $10 job into a situation real quick. And here's our noisy valve, and we've got something on the top here. Let's go ahead and clean that so we don't get it all over the place. Alright, so the first step we're going to take is you want to turn the water off by turning the shut-off valve clockwise. The next step is to flush the toilet to drain the water out. And I'll go ahead and mention here some of the items you're going to want to have besides your fill valve are a bucket, a cup, and a towel, and maybe even a sponge, which I didn't have, but it does make one of the steps easier. That does remove most of the water, but as you can tell, there's about an inch remaining. To remove that, we'll start by using our cup. We'll scoop out the water, dump it into the bucket until you can't scoop anymore. Then, we'll use a towel to soak up what's left at the bottom. A sponge works best here, but I'm using what I have. For this next part, lay a few towels on the floor. It can get messy, and it's good to have a few towels laying there to catch any water or be able to wipe it up as needed. Your supply line should only be hand tight, so try that first. If it's too tight to loosen by hand, then use a set of tongue and groove joint pliers to get it started, and then finish up by hand. Alright, it's good to clean up as you go, and next we will remove the old fill valve lock nuts. Use the same process we did with the supply line. In my case, I did need the pliers to get it started, and then I was able to finish by hand. Now we'll remove the old refill tube hose. When we remove the old fill valve, any remaining water in there will pour out that hole. I tried to catch it in the bucket, but you want to have a couple towels laying around also. The main water supply line gets in the way and usually won't allow you to get your bucket perfectly under the hole. And yep, that was a mess, but it is an easy cleanup. Now that we've probably made all the messes we're going to make, let's go ahead and clean the water off the toilet and the supply line. We'll want to check for leaks later, and any pulled water may trick us into thinking we do have a leak. Now we'll open our new fill valve. With it we get the fill valve, the lock nut and hose clamp come in a package, and then we also get a fill valve hose and the instructions. And the next step will be to install the fill valve. Inspect the gasket at the bottom of the fill valve to make sure it's in the right position with the flat side up and the slope side towards the hole. It's usually in the right position, but better safe than sorry. Next, we want to adjust the height of our fill valve. It needs to measure approximately 3 inches above the top of the overflow pipe after installed. To adjust the height on this one, just hold and twist. On some models, you do have to remove that lock ring, but not on this one. Check your manual if you don't have the Fluidmaster 400A. You also want to make sure you orient it in a way that's not obstructing the handle and so that the tube is facing the direction of the overflow pipe. Now let's take out our lock nut and hose clamp, but while we're here we'll go ahead and attach the refill tube hose. You may have to use scissors to cut it to size if you have any excess, but in my case I've got to go around this giant piece in the middle, so I barely have enough. My overflow pipe also has a built-in hose clamp, so we don't have to use the one that it came with. Alright, that's tucked away nicely. Now let's attach this lock nut. Make sure this lock nut is tight, but there's no need to use pliers. Hand tight on all these parts is all you want. Now we'll reattach the supply line, and same with this, just hand tight. Alright, looks like everything up here is nice and tight. That is good. And then we'll check and make sure this is tight one more time, and then we'll turn on the water. And while we're down here, we'll go ahead and check for any obvious leaks, and everything looks good. Now for this first fill, we're watching to see how high the water rises on this overflow pipe. We need it to be ½ an inch from the top. Mine is marked with a ½ inch mark, so it does make it easy, and is right here. Now on this first fill, we were almost at the very top of the overflow pipe, so we do need to adjust our fill valve. To do that, we're going to turn the water level adjustment screw counterclockwise to lower the float. Keep repeating this step until the water is at the correct level on the overflow pipe. And that there's probably fine, but I'm going to adjust it just a little more to get it perfect. Alright, that there stopped right on the line, so we are perfect, and we've got this thing installed and adjusted. Now it's time to put the lid back on, and then we want to check for leaks just to make sure. And I did happen to check for leaks right then, and then this here is, I came back about 15 minutes later, no leaks, and we have a perfect install. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking around, and I hope this video helped out, and if it did, think about hitting the like button. I'm going to post here all these steps in the instructions manual in case you want to pause and read through those in case you have any other questions. And again, I thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one.